Next, we're going to listen to Christopher from Joyent.
All right. Hey. All right. Hi. I'm Christopher Harrell from Joyent. I'm in charge of I'm the manager of the solutions engineering team. I was told to put my Twitter handle up there. That's actually my handle for everything. So if you're looking for me on IRC, for better or for worse, that's me. I wanted to talk today about my team's experience maintaining the official Docker Node image. Does anyone here actually maintain an official Docker image? What image do you?
Alpine.
Ah, I love Alpine. Yeah, Alpine. Oh, nice. Okay. So even if you don't, this actually covers a lot of things that have to do with building images anyways that I think should be broadly useful. So a little bit about Joyent. We're the container company, and we've been that way since about 2006. You might know us from the Joyent Public Cloud. We have public cloud hosting. We also offer private cloud software. It's called Smart Data Center. The GitHub repo is up there because it's all open source. So if you want to go and try it, you can. And of course, I have to do a shameless plug. One of the things that we have with Smart Data Center that's available in our software in the cloud is something called Triton. So you can spin up Docker images in a data center on bare metal. You'd use the Docker commands just like you would for running from your laptop. It's pretty cool tech. We run Docker images natively in SmartOS zones. Like I said, we turn basically the entire data center into a Docker host. And also, one of the other things we do is we have these things. We do Linux containers, so you can run Linux at bare metal speed. And my team actually is responsible for building those. So solutions engineering, I always feel like I have to explain what that means. So we're basically the image team. Just about every image that is in the Joyent Public Cloud that's available to Smart Data Center users or SmartOS users, my team builds them. So SmartOS containers, KVM Linux, so Debian, CentOS, et cetera, FreeBSD, Windows. We don't build the Ubuntu images. That actually is handled by Canonical that I work with them as a partner. And of course, I also mentioned this before, the Linux Triton container images that we build as well. That's actually been really fun. It's very similar to, if anyone here has built like an image from scratch for Docker, it's pretty similar. You're tarring up a root file system and that sort of thing. But what I want to get into is, so we also maintain the official Docker Node.js image. So I'm assuming, probably a lot of people are familiar with the Docker Node.js image. Hands up. Hands up. Okay. Oh, good. Obviously you've seen it on the registry. There's the GitHub repo. It's kind of popular. So that number you see right there, that's actually wrong. This screen cap was taken I think a week ago, and so we're already at something like 1 million downloads. That number turns over pretty quickly every week, actually. Yeah, so it's popular, but it's popular, right? It's popular in quotes, but it's still, it's still up there and for the top images. So the actual Docker Node.js image, we took it over from Docker a few months ago. So that had some really great advantages actually. A lot of stuff was already set up for us. So there's really great scripts for updating the image. Everything was pretty well established. And even beyond that, there's some fantastic resources. So there's a great README on GitHub. And all the Docker docs are fantastic. There's a IRC channel that I used when I first took this on that was super helpful. But we also had some prior history to get familiar with. So the base image, we had to realize what was being chosen. So in this case, it's the build pack depths Jesse image. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but it's huge. It's a big image. It's basically got everything you could want in it if you want to build something. Super helpful if if you want to compile any kind of npm module. Chances are it's got what it needs to build it, but it's a big image. So there's sort of this compromise between how useful it is and the image size. I'll touch on that a little bit later. There was also pre-existing tags and variants for the image as well, for all the different versions and stuff that are offered. And I'll get into that. The other thing we had to sort of get familiar with was the image workflow. There wasn't that many people here, obviously, who update the official images, but there's sort of these steps that you have to go through. So the first thing is obviously you're updating your own Docker files. That's easy enough, and then you update your GitHub repo. And then you have to generate a new library file. So there's an official repo repository that has a list of all the repos, and you send a pull request to that with the updated file, and then it goes through some testing, and then boom, it lands today. I actually just did that, I don't know, a couple hours ago. So if you go to check the registry now, you should see that the latest versions of 0.12 and 0.10 are up there. That was actually kind of important because OpenSSL broke again. Surprise. But the workflow was a bit new to us, actually, my team, because for a long time we were doing everything internally in Git, and doing stuff on GitHub actually took some getting used to. So that was a little bit interesting. And we're also looking at kind of ways to try and automate that stuff. As you can see with the different steps, it gets a little bit cumbersome. So I'm trying to figure out ways to just have updates to at least our repo happen automatically and include tests as well. And we also made some modifications. We didn't actually want to mess with the image itself, like add new stuff or change things or just swap out the underlying base image, because that'd be pretty disruptive. But we wanted to change some of the stuff that helped us build it. So a member on my team, Derek Crennington, actually updated the scripts that came with it. So originally, the scripts didn't really work on a Mac because of the Bash version. So we updated that, so we can basically just update the image on our laptop using boot to Docker, which is super helpful. And the other thing that I also added was just adding just a simple build test. It's like your very first test, really. It's just, does this damn thing build? We actually got burned by that once during one of the updates. So we always run that every time we do an update to just make sure all the images, all the tags work. One thing that we've been looking at is using server spec for testing and to try and automate things. I'll touch on that a little bit later as well. Now, not everyone's going to have that sort of advantages of taking over an official one, and if you're building your own image, you're basically starting from scratch. And again, the docs and everything just really great. And also, just because everything's out in the open, there's so many images you can just look at to just see how stuff is built. And that's just incredibly helpful. Again, we had the benefit of taking over something, so we kind of had it easy. There's a lot of things you have to sort of consider when you're building this stuff, or just when you're building images as well. Like, what's your base image going to be? You can't go wrong with any of the official ones. Debian Jessie is basically what's used for pretty much the majority of the official images, I think. There might be a few that are a little bit different. And if you're building from scratch, you kind of have to pick something that makes sense for you. In some cases, you might have to pick CentOS. I know that there's some software out there that they may want to use a certain thing because they've never tested on certain stuff. So Alpine's great, but they have no experience with it. So they'll probably pick one of the common distros. And of course, you want to get familiar with Docker best practices. Because we took it over, it was kind of like self-documenting. We had all these Docker files, and we're like, oh, this is this is how you do it. And the doc actually on the site was really great for that. And then you also want to think about things like tags and variants, and definitely test if the thing builds. So I mentioned tags. Tags are fantastic. So with the official Node.js image, you can pull very specific versions of Node. So you can do Node, colon 0.10.34, et cetera, and you get to 12. Obviously, I just kicked off a new build today, so we're actually at 0.12.5, and so latest would point to 0.12.5. Latest is kind of like not really semantically correct. It's more like saying default. So if you just do Docker pull node, that's what you get. You don't actually get the latest thing, because the latest might be the development version, and you don't actually want that. Variants are also fantastic. So, are you serious? All right, well, I'm going to be fast. So variants are also really fantastic. So one of the things with variants is that you can provide sort of another option. So we have a slim version. So I was mentioning how Debian build packs is huge. The slim version is basically just pure Debian Jessie. And we also have a Wheezy variant as well. And if you want to see some really good examples of how this stuff is done and how it's documented, definitely check out the official Node and also the IOJS one as well. I mentioned image size. You want to kind of balance that out. Alpine is super interesting. It might not be the right choice for you, but I would definitely suggest looking at it. It's only 5 megs. It's kind of crazy. Like when you download it, it's so fast it feels like it's a mistake. It is. It's like, I don't know if anyone's ever used it, but APK is like a fantastic. It's got a nice package manager. It's pretty cool. I'm working on trying to build a Linux container image for our cloud, which is about the same size, and it just provisions like a bandit. There's also something you have to deal with is user feedback. So just use GitHub issues. That works really well. Testing service spec is awesome. I'm going to jump ahead because I'm running out of time. But so there was an interesting plot twist when we took over this repo. Node and IOJS are merging. So the bottom line with that is actually things are going to be OK. We're still tracking separately. The IOJS group has lots of working groups, and they have a Docker working group. They actually invited me to join them. So I'm going to be part of their working group as we all sort of move forward with this. So in the short term, basically, we're going to be tracking separately. And then at some point, there's going to be a new Node version, and that's going to be in the repo. And then the repo is going to move over to the Node.js repo. Longer term, I think we still got a lot of things to sort of figure out. I know that there's like an LTTS working group to figure out long-term support. Like how long are we going to keep 0.8 around as a tag for the Docker images sort of up there, and things like that. I apologize for running over because I realize it's near the end of the day here, but there we go. That's it. Thank you very much.